I remember sitting around the table with my family in 2006 and we were running the numbers. We were exhausted with the high cost of living here in Florida, rising housing costs, and also the previous year in 2005 we had a really active hurricane season here in Florida, and also Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. That's when we seriously considered moving to Georgia. It wasn't an easy decision, but it turned out to be one of the smartest financial and lifestyle choices that we ever made. In this video, we'll share with you exactly what we learned and how it might apply to you and your family if you're considering moving to Georgia. So let's get into it. When we sat down back in 2006 to run the numbers, the Florida's no state tax really looked like the golden ticket. On paper it sounded unbeatable, but when we truly crunched our numbers, the outcome just didn't match the promise, and the math just didn't add up. I can still remember us sitting around the table as if it was yesterday, with all our bills spread out around the table, looking at the bills, adding them up, checking our income, having our calculator, and the numbers on the calculator continued to flash higher than what we wanted. One of the things that stood out to us when we were looking at our bills was the rising housing costs. In Florida, even the most modest home means taking out a much bigger mortgage than what we were comfortable with. And every time that we thought about stretching our financials just a little more, insurance bills would hit our mailbox and remind us of the risk. By the way, my name is Matthew. I'm a real estate agent here in Georgia. I also moved to Georgia from Florida over 16 years ago and been loving ever since. And welcome to my channel, North Georgia Life, where we cover everything there is to know about living in North Georgia and the surrounding suburbs, including the best neighborhoods, things to do so you get a really good idea of what it's like living here. Make sure you subscribe below so you'll be able to first learn about the current market here in Georgia. So whether you're making your move here today or the next 9 to 15 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. You can even schedule a Zoom call with us because we're your Georgia relocation team. We help people just like you move here from all over the United States. All our contact information is down in the description below. Also, if you like this video, hit the like button and give us a thumbs up. So when we lived in the Tampa Bay area after the active hurricane season back in 2005, we saw that our home insurance continued to creep up every year, and some home insurance companies even left Florida. So for those of you who are currently living in Florida after this really active hurricane season in 2023 and 2024, you're probably experiencing some of the same things that we did in 2005, which is the increase in your home insurance due to all these hurricanes. The question that my family and I had to ask ourselves back in 2006 was, do we go with the shiny promise of the savings of no state tax, or do we look at the reality that our everyday expenses was costing us much more money than the no state tax ever saved us? Florida's cost of living was balanced by level of income, which just didn't match our lifestyle. Also, we were looking into the future to see which state would be the best place for us to retire. To put this in perspective, back in 2006, my family and I lived in the New Tampa area. We were living in this beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and our monthly mortgage payment, property taxes, and home insurance was $900 more compared to the same size house that we purchased here in Georgia. Also, our HOA dues here in Georgia was much less than our HOA dues in Florida, and that gap mattered a lot, especially when we added up all our monthly expenses. Then there's unexpected rise in car insurance each year in Florida that people just don't budget for. When I speak to my family who still live in the Tampa Bay area, they share with me that their car insurance premiums continue to go up each year. Also, according to Insure.com, in 2025, Florida was number 2 as the most expensive state for car insurance. When we travel back to Florida, we're always reminded how much we're saving in regular gas here in Georgia. The regular gas that we pay here in Georgia is always about 10 to 20 cents cheaper than in Florida. So it's a huge savings for you. You're able to put more money in your pocket instead of spending it on gas. So when we were evaluating our numbers, it wasn't all about the numbers, but was a big part for us. It was whether if we could live in Georgia without constantly feeling like we were running on the treadmill each month just to pay our bills. And that's what made Georgia so appealing for us. Now, a lot of people dream of Florida because of its sunshine and white beaches. And I get it. If you ever visit Florida on vacation, it looks like paradise. But living here full time, it's much different. My family and I had to ask ourselves after years of hurricane preparation, was endless summers and white beaches really worth it? But the reality was that we had a long to-do list every hurricane season. When hurricanes would start brewing and we have a storm warning, we'd have to go out and get some plywood to put on our windows, extra batteries, make sure that we have extra bottles of water and food. Also, we'd hope that we wouldn't lose electricity. And after you have to do that for so many years, it really starts wearing on you. And the stress was just not physical, it was also financial. Home insurance premiums would jump up every year after they would recalculate risk. Even if you had a couple quiet months that year, prices just went in one direction, that was up. So we had the sunshine and white beaches for sure, but it cost us peace of mind every time hurricane season rolled around. When we moved to Georgia, we were pleasantly surprised with the weather here because it offered a different rhythm and also 4 distinct seasons. Instead of watching tropical storms form on the radar, we were watching change of the leaves here in Georgia with vibrant oranges and reds and yellows. And during the springtime here, we saw the blooming of dogwoods and also other beautiful plants and trees. And during the summertime here in Georgia, we did have periods of humidity, but it wasn't really feeling oppressed where you have long months like Florida where you have 2 or 3 months of really high humidity and heat. And also when you walk out of your house here in Florida, you can just feel the humidity hit your face and you just start sweating. You really don't have that here in Georgia. And then you have the winters here in Georgia, which are mild, but the temperatures here in Georgia from time to time still require a jacket. When my family and I experienced all 4 seasons here in Georgia, it gave us a sense of balance that we did not know that we were missing when we lived in Florida. What we realized is that every hurricane season came with a big price tag, with the cost of hurricane preparation or increased premiums in our home insurance, even if we got hit or not. But when we moved to Georgia, we were able to take that savings, put that money in our pocket, use it for home improvements, take a family trip, or put it towards our retirement instead of paying on the costly expenses of the hurricane season that brings you when you live in Florida. What surprised us most about living in Georgia was not just saving money, it was how different life felt here compared to Florida. The pace of life shifted almost overnight here. Instead of fighting for parking spaces at the store or dealing with heavy traffic on the roads or highways in Florida, Georgia offered a lifestyle that we didn't think was possible. And we weren't looking outside our home and seeing our neighbors. In Florida, our home was really built really close to our neighbors, so we saw them every day. We were really pleasantly surprised about our home here in Georgia, how much space that we have between each home, which gave us nice privacy. Also, our yards were much bigger and allowed us to plant our own vegetable garden. And what we experienced by living here in Georgia is the community feel and also the southern hospitality that really stood out to us. It was the little things like your neighbors knowing your name, your family, getting to know each other on a personal level, going to your local grocery store, meeting people there that work there and visit there. They're really friendly and welcoming. And also seeing kids who feel comfortable walking to school every day. And also the seasonal festivals that brings your town together. So the balance of money, financial security, lifestyle, and a sense of community has convinced us that moving to Georgia from Florida has been one of our best decisions. So we hope that you take the time to run your own personal numbers like we did. And if you know somebody that lives in Georgia, we encourage you that you give them a call. Ask them what their daily life looks like here, because sometimes the better choice doesn't show up in the obvious trade-offs. Sometimes it hides in the quality of life that you gain. After this video is done, make sure you check out this video that I created for you, things you need to know before moving to Georgia. And until next time, as you always say on our channel, North Georgia Life, we make the world a better place, one person, one family, one investor at a time, through the power of real estate.